Hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Hoard of Tales. We are extremely excited tonight to bring you an Apocalypse Keys one-shot. This promises to be an angsty, feelings, monster-riddled, emo pop punk music festival thing, and I'm very, very excited about it. My name is Ella Watts. My pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman with long brown hair and glasses, and I am going to be the keeper tonight, which is essentially the game master. I'm going to be facilitating the game and playing all the NPCs. I am here with a cast of excellent players, starting out with Porna. Please, could you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ella. Hi, everyone. My name is Purna. My pronouns are she, her. I will be playing Zeher, whose pronouns are she, they, and I am extremely excited to be on this stream. I should tell you what I look like. I have curly black hair. I am wearing questionable makeup, but for the sake of argument, it is dark lipstick and it is a bunch of eyeliner that I've drawn all over the top of my face with and lined my eyes with. I'm wearing a black dress with white bicycles on it.
Porna says questionable, I say badass.
So
Okay,
cool.
Shamini.
You don't want us to do our characters now?
Porna just did her character as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not paying attention. I was Hi, my name is Shamini. I use she, her pronouns. I am a brownish person with dark brown hair and a high ponytail, currently wearing a flower print cotton top. I am playing Carla, who uses she, they pronouns. And I've attempted to look slightly nondescript today, which will sort of suit my character, as you will maybe see.
You know, it's funny, speaking of like both Zaher and Carla have this kind of thing of going unnoticed. So I feel like it was appropriate that Zaher kind of slipped under your notice there.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Maddie.
Hello, my name's Maddie. My pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman with brown hair, but currently wearing a very dark green bandana and a Caleb Widowgast Critical Role shirt because I feel like the angst of that character is appropriate for this game. I am going to be playing Zed, who accepts any pronouns but has a preference for she, her. And yeah, I'm very excited to play.
Excellent. And last but far from least, Angela.
Hello there, lovelies. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at one of Ella's tables at last. I am blessed beyond blessed. My name is Angela Lemos Mogrovejo. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Saris, / if you know her more informally, Mara, who also uses she, her pronouns. I am a brown-skinned Latina trans woman who has normally black hair that's much longer than this, but I recently cut it into a bob and dyed it kind of a auburn, kind of brownish kind of color. I am wearing a red, very bodice-hugging kind of dress that has a boob window, where I'm also wearing both a little pin with a trans pride flag on it and also a D20 butterfly necklace that was actually designed by one of the players I had in a previous campaign on this channel, actually. I believe her Instagram, where she does things, is Chaotic Click Clacks, if I remember the name correctly, but that is me.
I've very much enjoyed the visual description bits. I've also realized that I didn't describe my own outfit, and there are bits that I want to highlight. I'm wearing guillotine earrings. That makes me happy. I got them off a drag queen at Pride. And then I'm wearing a kind of black mesh crop top bralette thing, which is making me happy and feels appropriate for this. Just before we get into the game proper, I've got two things to say. The first one is that you should check out this game. It's an indie game. It's made by Ray Najadi, who's an amazing game designer. I really love their work, and Apocalypse Keys is it's interesting. Ray does like both kind of serious, thoughtful, magic-y, monster-y, queer stuff, and then also like very, very cozy, gentle, super sweet games. This is more in the monster-y genre, but generally speaking, Ray has probably made a game that you will like, so you should just check out their entire oeuvre, honestly. They are at Temporal Hiccup on Twitter. And they made Apocalypse Keys specifically with Evil Hat, which if you are into indie RPGs, then you will know Evil Hat. But again, great studio. Apocalypse Keys is specifically powered by lesbians. It is based on the Thirsty Sword lesbian system. So if you're aware of TSL, then you might kind of see some similar things here, but it's not exactly the same. It's been tweaked in a lot of ways. The other important thing to say before we start playing is I have some content warnings for you. Apocalypse Keys is very much on purpose a dark game about monstrous characters dealing with identity and trauma. And whilst we have our own safety tools in play, it's important for you as a viewer or listener to kind of, consume content responsibly and be kind to yourself. So please be aware that there will be mention of strong language. There might be reference to alcoholic substances. There will be violence. It's going to be more on the fantasy violence side than it is going to be like gory, but it might be sort of people turning into shadows and that kind of thing. And generally discussion of complicated relationships with identity, community, and self-hidden relationships. We're not going to be portraying any abuse or anything like that on screen, but there might be reference to kind of like unhappy situations or grief or general loss. So please just be aware this is going to be quite a mature stream, and be safe, be kind to yourself. And if that doesn't sound like your thing, that's completely okay. You're on Twitch. There are so many other things you can be watching. Go watch something else and be safe and have a nice evening or afternoon or wherever you are. Okay, that is all the safety stuff. So it is time for us to actually go to like playing the game. Are you all ready to play the game? Would you like to play a game with me?
Go on
Me.
then.
Oh yeah, all right. Okay, we can probably manage it. Cool. All right. This is Apocalypse Keys. So we start in the dark. And so many of you remember only Shadow at the very beginning, before there was anything else. A warm, nurturing, kind, safe Shadow before the light came in, and with the light came everything else. You start in the dark. You find yourselves in a small room. You can hear distantly the thud, 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 the heartbeat like kind of pounding of the bass. You can hear the screaming crowd. You can hear someone on stage. That's a pretty good band. Can't quite tell who they are yet. You can hear clattering, food sizzling, people moving. You can smell things now, actually. Mostly just BO, a lot of BO, alcohol, that kind of hot metal smell that happens at a festival where like a lot of stuff is happening all day, hot fabric. You have just teleported into a very small storeroom at the Shatterheart Music Festival. And as soon as you arrive, Ceres, the watch-like device on your wrist that you were given by Division, the strange, shadowy, pseudo-government agency that all of you have been conscripted to work for as Omen-class monsters, as monsters which are capable of causing the apocalypse, but haven't done it yet. That watch flickers into life with a little electric buzz, and blue light springs up from your wrist, and a hologram appears. The hologram is maybe 20, 25 centimeters tall. It is the full body of a woman in a power suit with massive shoulder pads. She's a little bit sort of Gillian Anderson looking, definitely older, bit of a MILF. And she kind of folds her arms and looks at all of you and says, Omen-class monsters, you've arrived. Are you all well, limbs intact? And she looks at Zed, if, I mean, that even applies in this particular situation.
Yes, pretty much.
Fantastic. Zaher, Carla, first impressions.
It's a concert.
I think there's music happening. Do you like music?
Every day, I wonder why we're working with you. And then I remember that you're about to kill the world. All right, the mission is pretty simple. We have reason to suspect that there is a possible harbinger or door of doom in this location. Either way, there was a massive power surge not long ago. The headliners, the Rapture, are the biggest problem. Are any of you familiar with them?
They're the ones playing the music.
Yes.
On point.
Well, I can't contradict you there. Well, they are a viral sensation on an application on smartphones. It's called TikTok. And young people seem to be very interested in them. Hashtag I want to get raptured, etc. They have been building up as a somewhat underground sensation. And the key thing is that they have somehow successfully been able to make it that no one has ever been able to video any of their gigs. There's no photographs of them anywhere. There is no images of them anywhere. No one knows what they look like. No one actually knows what their music sounds like, but young people will never fail to astound and confuse me. They're headlining this. Their most recent gig happened in Chicago. It was at a basement venue. You had to sort of solve this internet puzzle hunt thing to get there, something on the dark web, follow a certain series of encrypted pictures. Anyway, the 200 people who were in attendance all disappeared that night. And now they're here. So let's see what they do now. Yes, Mara.
So when exactly does this become something we should care about?
I suspect you might be interested to know how deeply involved your goddess is, but, you know, I wouldn't presume to know the mind of the divine, my dear. No, the reason it is something that you will care about is because if the world is destroyed, then I'm sure none of you will be able to secure your own private little plans, will you? Or indeed, we will just have to assume that you have decided to switch sides and take matters into our own hands. We have a plan B in operation if necessary for this festival, if things go south. But I'm sure that you will all succeed in your mission, neutralize the potential threats, and come home safely. We'll let you teleport when we get that confirmation. And if not, well, I hope you enjoy emo music.
We just want to help people. Isn't that right?
Does it
Looks
look like I
around.
enjoy emo music? Actually, don't tell me.
I was about to say, I'm sorry, Zaher, but the profiling picture that I've got up right now of the generic standard person who might be into emo music does not look incredibly different from your general sort of demeanor.
Okay.
Which is good. You'll blend in. I mean, our suggested course of action is that Zed and Mara manage some kind of distraction whilst Zaher and Carla do more undercover infiltration. We have reason to suspect that, I mean, certainly if those 200 people are dead, then Zaher, one presumes you might find something there. And Carla, there is a suspected connection with Alaya, Ceres's goddess. Well, I should say former goddess, obviously. Ceres, you're not associated with her anymore, flunked out, as it were. Anyway, Alaya being a goddess of joy, love, etc., we believe that there might be some element of divinity to this celebration that we see at these festivals, the rapturous enjoyment that attendees are having. If you notice anything in the psychological or emotional landscape, it might give you a lead. And Zed, pretty sure, well, I wouldn't want to say until I was certain, but their fusing of divine magic with mundane technology would require a level of technological advancement that has not yet been seen on Earth.
Good to know. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Fantastic. I have another meeting in 30 seconds. Does anyone have any other questions for me?
How often are you going to bring up the fact that I've fallen?
Oh, as often as it amuses me, my darling. Besides, you love it when people talk about you. All right. 20 seconds.
What is emo?
I will leave that to the others to explain. Zaher.
You said the people are dead, but they're here. I feel like your documentation might be a little lacking.
I said that they might be dead. And if they are dead, then we believe that the Rapture has some way to tether their souls and take them with them. They wouldn't be harvesting them just to let them go. Right, that is all the time I have. So good luck. Don't die. It would only be incredibly convenient. And with that, she disappears. The hologram switches off. You kind of see her in the last moment before the hologram disappears, like walking off screen. And then like as her kind of like high-heeled boot lifts, she just dissolves into particles of light. You are all in a backstage tent at a music festival. Zahir and Carla, you noticed that when you teleported here using Division technology, lanyards appeared around your necks, which have backstage passes that label you as members of the backstage crew. Zed and Ceres, your lanyards label you as performers. What would you all like to do?
Can I just sort of look around? Are we backstage, having backstage passes?
Yes, so you are currently backstage east, so you are closest to the alternative stage, but as far as you can't really tell a lot from where you are right now. It's a very small dark room. You would need to go outside to get more of a sense. The only thing that would give you an idea is that there is extremely loud music coming from nearby, and you're pretty sure that that's the main stage. In fact, as you kind of tune into it, you notice the opening chords of Thin Lizzy's The Boys Are Back in Town.
Can Zahir use the starting move?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I would like to use Death Walked here to learn something valuable about this area.
Cool. Okay, can you describe to me what it looks like when you use your deathly powers?
Well, depends on which one, but I imagine that sort of almost like if you're imagining a comic about a goth child, you see sort of like the darkness like smudge out beyond Zahir's actual outline, and then you sort of see like as if black ink is spreading outwards, especially when like she's investigating. So I think that's what it would look like.
Cool. I absolutely love that. Okay, please could you give me a roll?
Yes, I will.
Now, be aware that in order to use Death Walked here, you need to spend darkness tokens. You should have some starting darkness tokens. I'm going to say you got 2, and you are aiming to get an 8 to 10. If you get an 11 plus, for people watching and listening, in this game it's a disastrous success. You don't want to succeed too well because it means the monster's extraordinary powers are taking control of them. If you get an 8 to 10, perfect success, you do exactly what you want to do. And on a 7 or less, you don't succeed in what you wanted to do and something else happens.
9.
Perfect. Okay, it's an 8 to 10. So death shows you exactly what happened here. So you can ask 2 questions from the list on your character sheet. I assume that you've got it open, but if not, I can tell you what they are. Which questions would you like to ask?
What evidence here will help my investigation? And what important item or knowledge was taken from here?
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So Zahir does this kind of blurring inky blackness, and it's sort of like the inverse of using a black light. As that blackness kind of runs out, things are kind of illuminated, but like the opposite of illuminated. It's really strange to perceive with each of your eyes. I think of all of you, Zed, being from a kind of alien quantum people, is the most comfortable with looking at this. And maybe Carla as well. Carla used to kind of existing in a somewhat liminal space as a sort of projection rather than necessarily exactly what they seem. But at the same time, it's a little bit migraine inducing to see these kind of like outlines of kind of raised stencils of darkness as various kind of objects and things in the room light up. Another thing that you notice, and it's sort of like when you're in a video game and you use an ability that lets you like see through walls or hear things or whatever, is that you notice the outlines of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ghosts right outside this tent. But these ghosts are different than usual. Whilst in your experience you might have encountered ghosts that act with a certain level of gravitas, certainly death itself uses the faces of people that you, Zahir, love to haunt you specifically, but that might not specifically be them. When you encounter normal ghosts, they act more like just people, confused people, sometimes angry people, but people. In this case, they are all kind of unilaterally standing with their eyes and mouths open, their heads tilted up, just kind of, and all of them seem to be like kind of pulled from side to side as if they're all being held on puppet strings and just swaying in time with the music. There is something very strange happening with death here. In terms of what important item or knowledge was taken from here, it's a slightly tricky one in that like this kind of little backstage tent isn't necessarily the most important location in the festival. But what I will say is that you notice a gleaming white piece of thread. And this thread is so white. It is a white that is physically painful to look at. It feels like having a needle in your eye. Whatever this thread is, it is not mundane. Oh, I apologize. It is like having something kind of scratching at your skin. It is it's not a normal piece of fabric. So you notice that. You notice that perhaps it's come from someone's clothing. Someone was in here, but is not here right now. Someone wearing white.
Got it. And as we're playing, would you prefer that like we paraphrase what you're saying to be like, this is what I've found out using my powers, or would you just like us to be like, well, that's what I know?
You are welcome to dealer's choice it, honestly. Share as much or as little as you think Zahir would. I think Zahir has a greater understanding that something is wrong with death than the others might, but the others will have perceived something of what you've just done. So it's up to you how Zahir interprets that to the rest of the group.
Okay. So Zahir's gonna turn to the others and say, do you all see the ghosts? They're like loads of them just outside here, and they're just, I mean, sure, people are sheeple, but like they're all just, they look literally like they're waiting for someone to like reel them in like fish, and it's weird.
What do I see outside of the tent?
You saw for a moment when Zahir extended her powers, the kind of the illusion of these ghosts with these open mouths. It was a little bit blurrier to you, as if you needed glasses and you weren't wearing them. But you saw that. If you would like Carla to get a sense of the psychological and emotional landscape of this area, you can.
I do, but right now I want to know whether what Zahir has seen is what is visible.
It faded, but you saw a version of it. You basically saw
there are
the
people
same
dancing
thing, but
outside
slightly
the
more
tent,
blurry.
Right? If we look outside the tent, everyone's just having a good time and not being weird ghosts.
You can hear people dancing. What you saw was just the ghosts. Zahir only outlines the ghosts.
Can I look outside the tent?
You can step outside for sure.
What do I see?
As soon as you step outside, an extremely handsome man who is about 6'4" bumps into you. He is essentially, imagine like the build of British Chinese Captain America, like Dorito torso, very much Dorito torso, like real chiseled jawline. And he kind of just smiles at you. He dimples a bit as he does. Whoa, okay. Sorry. Hi. Oh my goodness, I missed you in induction. Hi, my name's Ren. I'm in charge of the backstage crew. It is so nice to meet you. What's your name? And he just sticks out a hand.
Ren, this must be such a busy and difficult job for you. Can I just, ignoring his hand, just like widen the tent flap and just look back into Zahir and say, is this one?
Oh gosh, I missed two people. Wow, I checked and double checked my spreadsheet. That's fine though. You know, every mistake is a learning experience. Hi as well. Oh my goodness, and two performers. All right. Well, this is just a category like Amber Crisis. I wouldn't call it Amber. Maybe let's say Magenta. Anyway, everything's gonna be fine. But performers, do you know what stage you're at?
But when Carla asks Zahara this, sort of like look at them and go, like, obviously not. But like, and then just constantly when Dorito Man is speaking, I'm just like,
Eyes rolling. Nice.
I had a response, but I wanted to make sure Zed goes first.
I think Zed kind of puts their arms behind their back just to kind of make sure, because they're the extremities are the parts of her body that tend to phase in and out of existence the most. So she's gonna like kind of cross her legs and like put their arms behind their back and just be like, sorry, we don't I don't know which stage I'm on.
I think Saris, who I suppose would now be a good time for us to give descriptions for each of our characters.
I would love that.
This feels appropriate because Saris just begins walking over, like kind of ignoring that we do have an actual mission that we're supposed to be doing, and just like, oh look, tall gorgeous man.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he should be paying attention to me. Walks over. She is about 6'3", 6'4", because I don't do short ladies. You're all welcome. She looks mostly humanoid, as though she has kind of but wearing a bartending outfit. I like to think like kind of like suspenders, kind of white button-up shirt that has, I'm trying to remember the exact, I was trying to remember the term before Shamini gives me crap for using a term that I know is different in another context.
I just have lots of images of very interesting suspenders in my head, but it's working for me, so you carry on.
This is what I get. This is what I get for being the lone American. This is deserved. Mostly humanoid, wearing kind of like a bartending outfit, so button-up shirt. Might as well go with it. She has a spiked collar on as well. She has, pretty blatantly, but it kind of works for the scenario that we're in, occasionally wings that phase in and out, that almost look like when sound is bouncing around in the room or people are making noises, the wings kind of fluctuate out of existence. But when you see them every now and then, they're faded reds and oranges. Think very much like an ember that's started to like lose like the heat and is starting to like die out. Long brown hair down to the shoulders, heterochromatic eyes, and she has horns that hold up a halo that is cracked and has a constant effect like it's bleeding.
So I think as Saris gets closer to this guy Ren, he gets a little pink in the cheek. He kind of rubs the back of his neck. You know, you see this massive bicep as he's just kind of like, he doesn't know where to put his eyes. He's kind of very like, you know, trying really hard to be a good boy, but like you're not giving him many opportunities to do so with the way in which you are dressed. And he sort of like, it's like, okay, well, would you say you're an acrobat or a singer?
It really, well, for the first bit, the acrobat really depends on the context. I am quite flexible when you need me to be.
Performing wise,
I was
stage.
talking about that. I don't know what exactly you were talking about, dear. Did you have something else on your mind?
No. Okay, so is your act? He looks
I'm
quite
a singer,
desperately
don't
to
worry
Zed.
about yeah. Sarah's just is still trying to keep the attention on her and is like, I'm a singer, dear. I make quite a lot of fun noises if you'd like to find out.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, you need to go to the newcomer stage. So, I'll get you there. That's fine. And then you two, I'm really sorry. I don't know your names. And he's looking at Zahara and Carla again.
We already got assigned some jobs to do. We'll catch up with you later when you're a bit less stressed. You just calm down and do what you need to do. We'll be all right until you're free.
You know, this is such a funny context in which to first ask for this role, but I would like you, Shamini, please, to roll to unleash the dark, because I think that he's not gonna just let you walk away. He's got too strong a sense of responsibility, so you are gonna need to influence him a little bit to get him to let this go.
Okay, right.
So to do this, you spend darkness tokens and roll. You're all starting off with 2 tokens, although Porna now has 1 after her first roll. And you are aiming to get an 8 to 10. If you get an 11 plus, it's a disastrous success. If you get 7 or less, it's a failure.
Okay, and I'm using my telepathy, or is that the flavor?
I would say that, like, in whatever way you want to describe, you are going to need to do more than just tell this man to go. You are going to need to influence him in some way.
Yeah, okay, great. 7.
Oh, okay. You have greatly underestimated them. The keeper will describe the desperate position you find yourself in. This is really funny to me.
I didn't think Ren was that serious about his job. You know?
Because essentially, okay, Shamini, I want you to describe to me what it looks like when Carla kind of reaches out, and like they don't quite succeed as much as they wanted to this time, but describe to me what that like first reaching out looks like.
So Carla is almost like a blur. There's something about her that when you look at them, you think you know what you're seeing, but it's almost your brain just filling in the gaps, assuming like, yes, I see a person, but if you tried to think about what they look like, you wouldn't know. And I think her reaching out is almost becoming less corporeal in that sort of direction. Like, you know, maybe a hand is physically reaching out, but then the hand is sometimes there and the hand is sometimes not there. And the whole thing is, and often with looking at them, like a dream where like you can't grasp things, and then the moment you think you do, it's changed.
That is so cool. So you kind of start to do this, and then you hit what I can only describe as the mental constitution of a golden retriever. Like, it is just, there is nothing to manipulate here. His intentions are so pure and true. There's no thread you can pull on to be like, hey, don't you want to indulge that secret vice? Aren't you sure you don't really want to like leave your job alone? It's just, you just get like bounced back by this like mirror of like pure intention. And Ren kind of frowns a little bit and is like, well, no, that's no good, because you have to be registered with me in order to get paid. If some cowboy has told you that they're in charge instead, then you might be about to have your labor stolen, and that is not going to happen on my watch. Everyone on my watch is getting regular breaks. You're getting hydration. You're getting good time at the festival. You are being protected. You can report to me if you want to. You have a safe space, and also you are getting paid for your time. And if we go into overtime, you're getting paid for that too. So absolutely not. I am sorry, but I will need to put my foot down on this. We are going to get you registered and put on the list so that you get paid properly. It's all right, it's fine. We'll just stop off at the registration tent. After we stopped off there, like I'll be able to assign you to the work. We're actually a little bit thin on the ground on like the alternative stage, and then, you know, I can take these guys over, well, these people over to the newcomer stage. But yeah, I think yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And he kind of sets his shoulders and turns and starts kind of walking away in the direction of like the alternative stage. It was still backstage at this point. And he's kind of like, he's quite easy to see in the crowd because he's so big, but also he has this like kind of all black uniform, and the crowd itself is wild. It's an emo festival, you know. There are people with massive spikes. There's bright red hair everywhere. There's black hair everywhere. There's just generally like really cool dyed hair. People are moshing. People are screaming. People are getting up on top of each other. There is just this tide of people and this massive wash of smell of like body sweat and alcohol and fried food and other things just sweeping over you. For both Carla and Saris, this is it is particularly intoxicating. For Ceres, you are feeling all of the desire here, the affection here, all of the different strands of love, the love between a group of friends who are kind of like trying to carry each other and giggling and laughing and tripping over each other. You're feeling the love of like this lesbian couple, these two butchers who are just like moshing as hard as is physically possible. They're both like kind of fat and strong and wearing a lot of denim. You feel the kind of attraction. You see like these two guys kind of definitely just making out in the corner because they're having a good time. And you are feeling this like channeled, concentrated, like amount of love, joy, all of the things that your divinity is tuned into, and it is just like sweeping over you. And it's a little bit like smelling like the kind of fumes of something very alcoholic. It makes you a little lightheaded just feeling it, just in a very pleasant way. And Shamini, for Carla, there is so much psychic noise here. Like people on this scene tend to get incredibly invested in the lyrics, in their relationship with this music, in their relationship with the performers, which means that there are so many dreams and so many imaginations and imaginings of what this is. And even as you're standing there, even before you start to move, Zaher and Zed, you notice just for a second, like there seems to be this sort of ghostly, illusory kind of pack of leaping tigers just appearing from the edges of kind of Carla's form that just kind of roil outwards for a second like a storm and then disappear. Are you following Ren? Ren walks like about 3 steps and then turns around, and you notice now he has like a little fanny pack, which like has a first aid like logo on it. And he's like, okay, well, we need to go quickly, because I don't know what time your performances are. So if you would please come with me.
Can I put my hand out to Zaher? Sorry.
If it is possible, I would like to unleash the dark in order to distort time and pause Dorito Man in place for just enough time for us to get away.
I love that. Give me a roll and describe to me what it looks like. But give me a roll first. Let's see what happens. Remember to spend a darkness token.
I only got a 7 with 1 darkness token. Is it all right if I spend 2 to get an 8?
Just before you do, Porna put her hand up.
I was just I thought I could ask you for something while Zed was rolling. That's why. But I can wait.
Okay, cool. Well, yes, you can spend another darkness token. Remember that you will need to earn more, but you can all earn more darkness tokens by embodying the kind of characteristics on your playbooks, as well as through certain moves. But yeah, you're welcome to spend another darkness token if you want to make sure you succeed.
Cool. Yes. So Zed is quite a short, skinny-looking person with a black pixie cut and little freckles on their face, and is wearing very plain black clothes, which on their sort of slightly androgynous body look unbelievably chic, even though they're just incredibly simple. They have like both kind of very full lips and big eyes, but also very sharp cheekbones. And when he reaches out his hands, you can see that they're kind of, it's almost like they're pixelated and the pixels are kind of sparking off in different directions. And a wash of temporal energy encapsulates this person, encapsulates Ren, and he just stops in place for a moment. And
it's a little bit like kind of Mario, where he's got one arm lifted and he's kind of like he's moving like purposefully in a direction, and just kind of big smile on his face. Cool. Yes, so I will say, yep, that's a success. It's an 8 to 10. We can say that that's either get what you want from them, avoid reprisals, gain the upper hand, whatever. If you want to inflict a condition on Ren, you can. That is the same in this game as causing harm, psychologically, emotionally, or physically. If you want to hurt him, you can. But you don't have to.
I think, yeah, this seems like a decent guy. I'm just going to leave him be for now.
Cool. Horna, what was it that you wanted to ask?
Yes. I or Zaher wanted to ask, for darkness tokens, because moving through the crowd following Zen, I think, and seeing people happy and full of joy and being able to grab at the pointless tiny fragments of their lives that seem to bring them so much happiness makes her feel incredibly lonely.
I like that, and I'd like to suggest, if it's okay with you, that possibly Zahir just can't feel the physical warmth of living bodies anymore. Like,
Yep.
they just straight up can't feel it. And so going through this crowd and being so aware that this should be hot, this should be sweaty, you should be feeling the kind of oxytocin reaction of just like interacting with this many people who are kind of bumping. And, you know, at one point someone kind of falls into you, puts their hand on your shoulder, is like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, you see someone else kind of catch something, someone like passes you a cup of water, which are kind of getting handed out by various attendants around the crowd, and you just can't feel it. You are just so incredibly cut off from all of it. And yes, I will give you 3 darkness tokens. All right, where are we going? What are we doing?
I think Zed will call out, he's frozen for now, but not for long. We can get away and not have to do whatever bureaucracy he's trying to get us to do.
Time for us to have fun now.
Seems so nice.
Mm.
Yeah, but we have a job to do, and if we don't do it, then division will be division.
Time is a ticking.
Oh, lovely. Shall I go and start investigating?
May I at some point, I mean, I don't know if this works well with what you're doing, Saris/Mara, but I was thinking of God, I'm trying to find that. Yeah, using soul like a steel trap to help us devise the perfect plan.
How's it work?
My cold analytical skills help us devise the perfect plan. You study a situation, spend darkness tokens, and roll.
If you want to give me that role, I'm happy to give you lots of clues. It's
I
a one
know
shot,
the
so I'm
exact thing
invested
that-
in you all finding out what to do.
Yeah, I have the exact thing to follow this up. Whether or not this succeeds or fails, I roll. I want to see what happens.
Good face.
Yeah.
That's a 6.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. Here's what happens. How many times have you met death, and what did it look like when you met it?
I think I have lost count of the number of times I have encountered death. Except maybe I haven't. Because each time there is the waxen, screaming face of somebody I loved that appears before me. Either I have lost count or I don't want to count.
So you try to kind of reach out your powers and get a sense of kind of what you need to be doing, where you need to be going. And what happens instead is 2 things. The first thing is there is a kind of flattening of the landscape. It's like everything is suddenly made of cardboard and it all just falls down. And in its place is this infinite, misty, desolate horizon. All of your friends aren't there. You are suddenly alone. And as you're alone, there's this spiral that appears around you. And it is every member of your family who were killed the night that you survived and created your pact with death. and they are all kind of shadowy and slightly kind of tattered, like drifting misty fabric, and they are surrounding you in the state of their death. And then you feel, and I don't know how many times this has happened, you feel death itself put its long bone and metal hands over your eyes, and you hear a voice kind of whisper in your ear, and something like breath but not breath that shivers down the inside of your spine and leaves you feeling every single time that everyone will ever pass over your grave eventually. I don't want you to do that.
You don't control me. You don't control me.
And there's a snap of fingers, and suddenly reality returns, and your family are gone, and you have nothing. You have less than nothing. You know now that death is actively working against you.
Are you all right, Sarah?
You see, they're like close their hand into a fist, and you can see kind of a flash of emotion on their face that says, I mean, on the one hand, this feels horrible. On the other hand, I feel something. So, and snaps out of it and goes, Mara, you had a plan?
Oh, am I allowed to have fun now?
I guess.
Give me a moment. And just sort of very casually, you mentioned that there was two butches who were
Oh yeah,
who were
moshing pretty hard.
okay. I was like trying to find the right words because I was about to say ramming each other, and then I realized that's the worst phrasing I could choose in this moment.
Not here. No.
Not here. Distinction. I think she walks over very confidently to these two. And are they shorter, or are they about the same height that I am?
No, I would say they're both shorter. Yeah, like one of them is like more like 5'10", and one of them's like 5'5". So they're slightly different heights from each other, but they are both shorter than you, because I think you said you're like 6'3". Neither of them is 6'3".
Sweet, I'm almost a foot taller than them. It's my ideal height. I think she walks over to both of them, and she says, "Hello there, both of you. How are you getting along with the festival?"
One of them looks up at you. She has like a kind of buzz cut of steely gray hair, a tattoo on her bicep that's kind of like a old sailor's tattoo, which has the name Louise written across it. She's wearing like a denim vest with a lot of like punk patches that are all like hand stitched on, these big kind of builder's boots. She's got a bit of a tall belt and some carabiners hanging off it. And she's like, yeah, it's great. Are you a performer? And she's looking at your bleeding halo and your flickering wings.
Oh, most definitely, but I'll be over by the newcomer stage real soon. But I was wondering if either of you, and sort of looks over to the person's partner, if either of you happen to have seen anything a little sketchy around here, besides, the usual stuff. I've heard some of these bands before. I know Age of Three Deaths is playing, or AO3, as I know some folks like to refer to them. And you're welcome. I've been finding a time to say that joke for ages.
No. I mean, there was obviously the kudos issue, but like once people stopped throwing paper at the stage, yeah, like no, it's actually a really safe festival. They've got there's like water bottle refills. There's some tattoo artist. I think he kind of skeeved me out a little bit, but I mean, what can I say? He just kind of gave me a bad vibe. But no, I mean, it's a great festival.
Do you mind coming along with me, dear?
I mean, they aren't gonna leave where they are, quite close to the front of the main stage in a big music festival they paid to go to, unless you do something to convince them.
I figure as much. I think this is probably going to call for when you unleash the dark in this case.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Oh boy. Yeah. I know exactly how to do this. I think she leans in close to the one with like the carabiners, the taller of the two, and she like it's borderline like somewhere between seductive and kind of unsettling and creepy, the way like her hand just kind of like leans close and wraps around one of them, and it's sort of like, don't you want to make me happy? I can make you feel very happy. I can make you feel happier than, well, she can.
Oh,
You know.
don't break up my butches. Okay, give me a roll, please.
I have to ask people to betray each other. That's
Yeah,
literally
you do, and it's great, and I love it. Give me a
but
roll.
also the butches. We don't get that many of them anymore. All right, I am going to spend one darkness token of the two we're starting with, and we'll see how this goes. Nope, that is very bad. That is a 4.
Oh,
We are
okay,
rolling
cool.
terribly.
I mean, once again, you have greatly underestimated them. And actually, this does remind me an important note that I want to say, which is that on failed rolls, I'm going to be giving you darkness tokens and points of ruin. Specifically, Porna Zaher should have a mark of ruin, Carla should have a mark of ruin, and you should each also have a darkness token. And now, Ceres, Angela, you will also take a mark of ruin and a darkness token. Everyone, please keep track that if you hit 5 darkness tokens, then you are torn between your monstrous nature and your humanity. So I need you to let me know when that happens, and also let me know if you hit 5 marks of ruin, at which point you'll get a ruin advance. Okay, you have greatly underestimated them. Yeah, Ceres, this woman, she's like well built, right? Like she's stocky, she's kind of fat, strong, and she kind of politely but firmly takes your hand off her shoulder and is like, all right, listen, hun, I get it. It's all very exciting. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're figuring out this side of yourself. But I'm married, and it took us a real long time to get to the point where we could get married. So I'm gonna need you to go enjoy another part of the festival. You have a nice day. Goodbye. And in that moment, you feel so small. You feel so rejected and just human and mundane and not divine at all. I am going to inflict the condition forlorn on you. You have been forgotten. You're not important. And it sucks.
I knew this day would come. The butches have beaten me again. My soft butch at home would be so sad.
I think that Zed is going to be looking over at Sarah / Mara during this moment and see how dejected that she is looking, and just wish that she could go and comfort her, go and like embrace her, but knows that with their particular history that would make things so complicated, especially right now when we have a really important job to do. So I would like to pitch for getting darkness tokens for feeling lonely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will give you 2. I should also say, yeah, Mara, take 4 darkness tokens from getting your condition. You feel yeah, you are racing towards monstrosity. Fallen angels don't love being told that they're not special.
It sucks, man.
Yeah, no. But yes, Zed can also take 2 darkness tokens for sure. Alrighty, you've got a massive music festival right now. You're just kind of on the edge of the crowd near the main stage. What are you doing? Where are you going? You've got a mystery to solve. Your mystery complexity is 2, so you will need to grasp keys at least twice in order to try and roll to unlock Doom's door. If you don't do it in time, then the bad guys will get there first and there will be disastrous consequences. You are currently working against a doomsday clock that has 2 ticks on it. I'm going to tell you right now that depending on how we're going, the first tick is going to happen at the break. So you might want to make sure you're keeping up with them at least. And the break is going to be in about half an hour. So what you doing?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Can we grasp at keys even if even if you haven't mentioned that a clue is obvious or like something is interesting, can we roll to grasp keys? Like if we suspect a clue might be in a particular direction or like a particular space?
Yeah, for sure. So when you grasp at keys, a key is a clue and that you connect it to a facet of the mystery. The facets of the mysteries here being the harbinger of the apocalypse and the Doom's door. So who is the harbinger and what or where is Doom's door? I would say that we can describe some of the information you've gained already, especially the stuff about the dead acting weirdly, death having a go at you, that stuff. I'm very happy to say that if you want to grasp at keys to see whether those aspects are actual clues, you can give me a roll and we'll establish whether or not they are really connected or if they're red herrings. So basically, yes, you can roll whenever you want.
I would like to do that, please.
Cool.
That is an 8.
Great, that is perfect. You uncover a key. The keeper will tell you what it is. Death wants to destroy the veil between the living and the dead. And you think that the all of these ghosts here are, they have definitely been destroyed or killed in some way on purpose so that they can be harvested. And right now they are being kind of built up. You suspect that this many ghosts alone will not do it. They might need, I don't know, for example, a couple thousand more. How many people are here right now? One way or another, death is deeply involved in whatever is going on. Death cannot be the harbinger, but you suspect that whoever is the harbinger has a close relationship with death. You have uncovered a key. Congratulations.
Depending on what everyone else wants to do, I'm going to suggest that we sort of move closer to the stage, just to see like where all the ghosts are, like who's fishing the fish heads. We're like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, and I'd be really interested to find out more about the headline act as well. I feel like that might be a lead that we could follow.
Okay.
By the way, how much of that does Zahir share with the group? Because there are certain aspects of that Zed would be very interested in, depending on how much Zahir shares.
I mean, that's up to you, Pauna.
Sorry, can you repeat yourself so I can respond as Zahir?
Yeah, sorry. How do you share anything of like the key that you've grasped?
Oh yeah,
to the group, so that
yeah.
And if so, what kind of details do you?
So, so I would kind of be like, I'm gonna say it because we've worked together a bunch. Like you would all know, even if not super explicitly, you would know that like Zahra has a complicated relationship with death. So, I think so. Zahra would say that the veil, there is a threat to the veil, and that there is these Muppets aren't enough. Apparently, we need more Muppets to die because there hasn't been enough death in the world. So, yeah, but that would be bad. That would be very, very bad. And yeah, maybe let's not let death have more power than they deserve. Is the very intense response you get.
Nice.
As we're making our way further towards the front of the crowd, further towards the stage, I'm going to hold out my hand to Zahir again. See if they will take it.
Now, see, well, I feel okay. So if you're holding out your hands, Zara's going to look at it like, what?
Walk with me.
That's literally what I've been doing the whole time we've been here.
She touches Zahir on the arm. And like with that touch, there is a sense of sort of increasing like solidity, I guess, reality from that connection. And they
What are you doing? Why are you being weird? What are you doing?
Death showed you things.
So,
You still feel it?
what are you talking about?
Tell me what you feel.
I don't feel anything. I never feel anything. Have you ever seen me feel anything?
Then what did they show you?
I told you. The veil, it's under threat. Why are you touching me? You never touch me.
Just want to help you, Zahir.
I don't need help. These people need help. Look around us.
Sure.
They're going to die. And death
Take back
does
out.
not need to be inevitable.
I'm here for you as much as for them.
No one's here for anyone else. And Zahir breaks contact and walks out.
I'm gonna say Zahir mark vicious as another condition. And your choice, Shamini, whether Carla we're gonna hit as defensive or introspective. Which condition?
Introspective. Cool. However, I also have darkness. Ask someone to open their emotions to me.
Oh, cool. That's a move of yours.
No, it's a darkness thing.
Oh, what the darkness demands of you.
No, it's like a darkness token.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Gosh, went through like 6 different things there.
Sorry. They're all
Four
called
of these
something
things have darkness in them.
This
Yeah,
one's
yeah,
just
yeah.
called darkness. It just
This
says
is-
darkness.
This has the same naming convention problem that the first Kingdom Hearts has, that where darkness is just mentioned
Just
as a
everything
theme
is
and a term.
darkness.
Everything. It's like if you
Yeah.
use the word darkness, you'll be correct partially.
This
Cool.
one's
So
fully-
I will say that for sure, Carla, you can get 2 darkness tokens from your actions because you ask someone to open their emotions to you. You will mark the condition introspective. You're marking a condition because you were rejected. And you were especially rejected by someone who is important to you, whether or not you admit that. And I don't think that Carla is used to being rejected when they want to help people. That's why you're doing that. Also, please, everyone be aware that whenever you mark a condition in this game, you can then embody that condition to earn more darkness tokens. It's another way that you can get more darkness tokens, but once you've marked 4 conditions, you hit your breaking point and you lose control.
This has nothing
Speaking
to do with ruin points, though.
no,
conditions.
I can choose to tell you to mark 1 ruin.
Okay, cool.
If I think it's like kind of appropriate to your behavior or the scene, like in character. But no, ruin is kind of like bigger than that. So I think like if or when you hit your breaking point, I'll be like mark ruin probably, because that would be ruinous. Okay, cool. Hey Zed, What did it, so on the last day that your people existed, before the meteor they knew was coming destroyed all of them and killed them all, and you were the only survivor, and they all kind of thought that they could deal with that. When that happened, remember that happy memory? There was a massive festival happening. Your government had organized a festival to celebrate the fact that your people were such technologically advanced like people that they had overcome the universe itself. Galactic threats could no longer harm them. People were dancing in the streets. There were fireworks. There were all kinds of beautiful displays. Can you tell me a little bit more about the festival that was happening that day, right before the meteor hit?
I think that on that day, the literal music of the spheres was playing. I think that they had hooked up sort of connections to all the planets in their solar system, and interpreted the movements into musical notes, and somehow it created the most harmonious, beautiful sound that Zed had ever heard and or will ever hear since. And Zed was there with, I think, their partner, and was feeling like this deep sense of dread and foreboding, because he thought this is a monumental thing. A meteor is coming. Surely we must be doing something proactive rather than just letting it happen and hoping for the best. But I think their partner was just like, just relax, just enjoy the festival, don't worry about it. I think that's what happened.
Cool. So as you're walking through the crowd, and you're all getting pretty close to the stage now, I should say, all of this is kind of happening as you're kind of like muscling your way through this crowd. There are thousands of people, for people who have been to music festivals or just really big gigs. If you are in the pit trying to move forwards at a very, very big festival with a very, very big headliner, it takes some time and some maneuvering. And all of this is kind of happening as you're going through. And also for our Omen class monsters, I'm not sure how often all of you are in large crowds like this. Most normal people don't know that monsters exist. In fact, Division is quite interested in keeping that secret. They don't like you to be in big crowds like this. Right now, you're getting away with your visible monstrosity like Ceres because people are assuming it's a costume. It's kind of appropriate to the venue and the festival. But at the same time, even here, you're not supposed to be here for long. So it's just a lot of people. It's a lot of circumstances that are triggering memories, thoughts, and feelings that you might not normally be encountering. Not to mention the direct involvement of powers and individuals that are related to you. So Zed, as you're going through this crowd and kind of people are kind of shoving you left and right, it's like being in this just like ocean of limbs as you're kind of getting bruised. It's worse than paintball. Occasionally, like thankfully for you, your limbs like phase out, and so sometimes someone will kind of crash into you and then like fall further because they had expected to stop and they don't. You know, occasionally people kind of look a bit confused and then assume that like, you know, they've got too much adrenaline through their system, they're out of breath, like maybe they had a bit too much to drink. They're not quite reading you as inhuman. In this massive crowd, you're able to blend in a little bit, but at the same time, it's overwhelming. And you are noticing things that maybe not everyone else would notice. You are noticing the plastic littering the ground. You are noticing all of the kind of fast fashion on display, the clothes that are kind of like cheaply made falling apart. You're noticing the smoke pumping out the food vans. You're noticing like the chemicals leaking into the mud. You are noticing all of the ways in which this species, humanity, is killing like its planet, is making it impossible to live here, and they are so sure that nothing bad will ever happen to them because they're so smart and there's no way that this could go wrong. And in this kind of festival of, you know, excitement and joy and not even thinking about the fact that there could be a problem, you're noticing this a lot hotter than it should be at this time of year in this location. You're noticing that there are things about the weather patterns that shouldn't have been happening. You're noticing that there are certain species of bird that you're not hearing because they went extinct. You're noticing that you haven't seen any bees even though it's the middle of summer and we really need those. And all of this comes together, and for a moment there's a flicker, and you, Zed, don't know if it's just in your head or if it actually happens. But here's what happens. Suddenly, all the humans are gone. And you are on your home planet. And there are 3 suns in the sky and a 4th approaching rapidly. and it is pink and purple and beautiful. And you can see the glossy green and blue absolute gas giant that has been painting the sky ever since you were a child. And there is a taste of something like honey in your mouth, but it is so much better than honey, and no one will ever be able to give you that taste again. And the person you love is smiling at you and reaching out to brush a crumb from the side of your mouth. And then it flickers, and you're back with the humans, and they stink. And they are poisoning their entire world, and they're laughing while they do it. You get to the stage. How are you feeling?
I think that Zed is feeling angry. I think that Zed kind of tries to think about what Zahir said about what she had seen and tries to strip away any kind of subjective language like this is very bad, and just tries to think about exactly what Zahir was saying, and realizes that this is something to do with giving death what they want. And if we give death what they want, maybe they will do something for us/me in return.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a flicker for a moment across her mind. And then she kind of shakes it off and is like, no, we have things to do. I have people counting on me. I have people who will come after me if I don't do this. But there's that seed has been sown now.
I want you to mark 2 ruin. And I'm going to tell you that as you think that, the kind of flickering, the casual flickering of your body races up your arms and starts to take over your whole body. And around you, reality itself starts to kind of glitch and flicker. The grass kind of flickers in and out. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's bright blue, sometimes it's pink. The people around you start flickering in and out. One second they are sort of human and wearing clothes, and then the other second they are sort of translucent and glittering, and they have different eyes to what they had before, and it just starts spreading and spreading, and there's this just ripple of a quantum wave of alien shifting that then disappears, and you feel a long bone and metal hand touch your shoulder, and it's so cold that it bleeds into where your bones would be if you have bones. And you hear a voice in your ear say very quietly, "I could give you that." And then it disappears. Yes.
This is very noticeable to us, correct?
The little quantum wave, yes. You do not see or hear death.
Not the death part, just the quantum wave part. Yeah, fuck it, it's a one shot, might as well. I think Saris like goes over, and I think that the halo, which is like broken and bleeding, it's changed slightly to where as the sort of rivulets of blood go down, it looks more like tears going down her face now. And I think she walks over to Zed, and I think it's a mirror, like it's an unintentional mirror of where like the other hand was, like if it was happening on Zir's like right shoulder, I think she's coming like on the other side and being like, "Dear, you're getting out of focus again. Remember you're here. Remember that people will remember you. They want you to be here. They may not want me, but they definitely want you to be here." And I think trying to reveal your heart, because I think she also like more quietly, like probably everyone else could hear, and like they're all focused on everything else around them, but I think she says very quietly, so only Zed can hear, "I want you to be here."
So Angela, because you have invoked a mechanic, please roll. So roll and spend a darkness token.
Oh, and 2 darkness tokens.
it a failure?
6.
Oof.
Dang.
Something
Question,
interrupts or
wait.
undermines. Yes,
You can spend bond as well, correct?
you can. Yes.
It's not gay enough yet, so I will spend 2 of the bond that I have with Zed to bring that up to an 8. Because it's 4 plus the 2 that I spent on darkness plus the 2 bonds. So 2 of the bond that I have with Zed is gone, so that gets it up to an 8.
Okay. I will say that because of this specific context, it is clear how your bond with Zed is manifesting here. But you can give us just like an abbreviated summary of like how the bond is relevant here.
I think there's a lot with what Saris was that is about lies, but it's not always about malice. Sometimes a lie is a way that you reveal a truth to somebody. You create an illusion, you create a moment that is fleeting and not real, but it provides a comfort and an emotion that is real for them. And I think for her, it's a lot of like her hand being there and like the way her words echo. It's like the sound is echoing back across for how I imagine Zed experiences things temporally very weirdly. Like it's always everywhere, every time, all at once. And I think her words echo back to moments they shared together, like very sweetly and tenderly. Like I think not a moment of Saris being arrogant, but a moment of Saris being genuinely looking with affection towards Zed and realizing, or at least for her thinking, I'm nowhere near good enough to be around this person.
So
I think she brings back, but she doesn't think of those insecurities. She just thinks to Zed, she communicates, this is one of the happiest memories, and no one else could have given me that.
So because you got an 8, you can choose one of the following, and then if Zed reciprocates, Maddie, then you can also choose one of the following. You grow closer, gain 1 bond on them. They soothe your heart, clear 1 condition. They taught you something important, mark XP, or they give you hope, clear 1 mark of ruin. So Angela, you can pick first because no matter what, you get these. And then Maddie, it's up to you whether or not Zed reciprocates.
I think I will choose because you have. Does Maddie have conditions or does Zed have conditions currently?
I don't believe so.
Then, but you did just gain a mark of ruin. Well, you gained 2 marks of ruin.
I will say that the way it mechanically works is, Angela, you can do this for Sereth, not for Zed. It's up to Zed whether or not Zed clears it. So you can apply this to yourself, but not to
it's
someone
to
else.
myself. Got it. I was reading it incorrectly. I think clearing a mark of ruin for myself, because I think she's looking at it like the world cannot end because you are here. The world has to continue because you make it that much better. I am forgettable. You are eternal and therefore wonderful.
Maddie, Zed.
I think Zed does reciprocate. I think Zed also clears a mark of ruin, because while she was previously in that moment with her partner back on her home planet, she realizes, no, there are people here and now who care about me, and trying to reach back into the past and grasp at something which could have dire consequences is ignoring all the things that are good in this moment.
Beautiful. You get to the stage. There are 2 things that are going to happen, but we're coming up pretty close to our break. So one of these is going to be a little cliffhanger, which hopefully for folk watching, you can enjoy wondering about. The first thing that happens is a tall, broad-shouldered woman wearing a sort of bodycon, very, very structured white dress and white high heels, who is platinum blonde, almost albino, Gwendolyn Christie, beautiful, handsome, very strong, very in charge, holding a clipboard, which is also bright white, and her nails are bright white. So much about her is so incredibly white. She sees you approaching the stage, and sees you, Ceres, and it's like, oh, fantastic. I was wondering where you were. You are up next. I hope you're ready. It really doesn't matter if you're not, but good luck ruining your career if you're not. Okay, fantastic. Let's get you on the stage now. And she just starts pushing you up onto the main stage in front of about, I'm going to say, maybe 5,000 people. Whilst that's happening, Carla and Zahir. Carla, as you walked through the crowd, it was subtle at first, and I think, based on how you've played it so far, that you were a little bit distracted by Zahir. You were concerned about them. And so when you were reaching out to her, you weren't paying as much attention. But when she walks away, you have more of an ability to notice it. There has been some kind of interference happening this whole time. And the closer you've got to the main stage, the stronger that interference has gotten. It's like listening to a piece of music when your headphones aren't quite plugged in properly. There's just a little just continuously. It's like a physical feeling. It is scratching down your back. It is rubbing against your skin like a Brillo pad. You don't know what it is, but there is something wrong here in the emotional and psychological and psychic atmosphere of this place. There is something that is distracting you, and you're trying to shake it off like a fly that's kind of just keeps appearing around your head, and you don't know what it is. Zahir, you glance back and you notice, whether or not you wanted to, that Carla is struggling to exist. That color is flickering and fading, and as they flicker and fade, nightmares are boiling up out of them like bubbles and frog spawn. There are screaming faces and monsters and teeth and swords and broken things and oil and goo and poison and rot, and it is all exploding outwards, and every single time it kind of bursts out and then kind of comes back in, and Carla shakes and it bursts out and it comes back in, and every single time Carla comes back, Carla is thinner and Carla is less existent, and you are suddenly so profoundly aware that Carla's entire existence is like a soap bubble and it might be about to burst. And that is where we're going to take our break. Okay, so thank you all for playing so far. I hope that you have been having a lovely time. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've been having a lovely time. I enjoy this game and I very much enjoy these characters. We will be back shortly. Yes, then we will be continuing on till 10 p.m. UK time. I'm not good enough at time zones or maths to know what time for everyone else, but an hour and a half, basically. Yeah, thank you. Hello, welcome back to our stream of Apocalypse Keys on Hoard of Tales. This is a very cool game by Ray Najadi. It's published by Evil Hat Publishing. It's great. We play monsters. We're trying to avert the apocalypse, but we might end up causing the apocalypse ourselves, and everything is kind of a thing. We're not going to do full introductions because hopefully you've been here since the start and you know who we are. But if you're just joining us now, very quickly, we're just going to tell you our names and our pronouns, and players are going to tell you their character names and their character pronouns, starting with Angela.
Hello there, lovelies. My name is Angela Lemus-Mogrovejo. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Ceres/Mara, who uses she, her pronouns as well.
Beautiful. Maddie.
Hello, I'm Maddie. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Zed, who uses she or any pronouns.
Excellent. Shamini.
Hi, I'm Shamini, she, her, and I am playing Carla, who uses she, they.
Gorgeous. And finally, last but not least, Porna.
Hi, I'm Burna. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Zahir, who uses she, they.
Amazing. And I should have said my name is Ella. I have she, her pronouns as well. And I am playing the keeper, the GM, the facilitator, all the NPCs, including some really horrible people, which is very fun for me. So where we left off on a cliffhanger just before the break was that we'd gotten to the main stage. Ceres had been accosted by a woman in white who seems to be some kind of organization person. And she's got a clipboard and a fancy dress, who said that she was very pleased to see Ceres, that Ceres was on the next show or the next act. And as that was happening, Carla started sort of essentially glitching and seeming to lose control of these strange dreamlike nightmare apparitions. Now there's one edit to that I want to make it clear. As Carla flickered, we specifically saw this tall kind of person with dark blue skin and 4 arms, these kind of long kind of fangs and long black hair kind of appearing with their mouth open, kind of monstrously hungrily looking. Well, can't tell, but what it means is Carla herself is starting to flicker, disappear, and fade right in front of Zaher's eyes. But Zaher doesn't care about that. It's completely fine, as if Zaher's just told us, like, she doesn't care about anything or anyone. They haven't felt anything in millennia. Why would they care if Carla disappeared from existence? As this is happening. No, you don't. No, you don't. Sure, you don't. Hey, listen. Whatever. Whilst this is happening, I would like to let you know that on the main stage, the act just before Ceres that is wrapping up is Muse, and they are playing Supermassive Black Hole. Okay, what you doing?
So Zaher sees Kala flicker, and she doesn't care. Zaher doesn't care. She knows she doesn't care. She knows for sure, right? But she should do something. It's probably bad for division and omen class monsters everywhere. Not that I owe anyone anything. Certainly not other monsters. Zaher is going to roll Power Through Darkness, which is when you push the limits of your supernatural powers, straining to do the extraordinary or avert imminent danger. And I rolled a 9.
Okay, so you use your powers of great precision and effect, changing the situation before you. Additionally, the keeper may offer you reprieve, a golden opportunity, or a bond with someone. You are absolutely going to take a bond with Carla. Tell me what this looks like.
Right. So Zaher sort of walks towards where Carla is flickering and, not touching her, will slowly walk around them in almost a menacing manner. The inky smudge that you saw before backstage mixing with the flicker so that it is less obvious and looks more like it's in shadow, and sort of notionally giving Kala time to gather themselves and not ever touching, but saying sort of in a quiet murmur that no electronic devices are going to pick up and is never going to be used against me again, saying, "It is possible you matter. It is possible you matter, even if not to me. It is possible you matter, and you need to stop flickering. You cannot be taken away from this team. It's possible you matter, okay? It's possible you matter." And just, yeah.
Carla seems like almost asleep. And often when you'll have seen her before reaching out to other minds, to dreams, to people. It looks like maybe she was trying to do that, but in order to enter that state with them, she has to enter it herself. And she seems for a moment lost in it as she's sort of disintegrating away into the dream is disintegrating away. And as it sort of intermingles with the darkness, with the inky shadows, it doesn't just obscure it, it sort of solidifies where it touches, like it's a physical thing almost. And she sort of wakes up slightly, looks at you there. Are you okay?
Zahir kind of like shivers and grumpily says, yeah, are you okay? Actually, you know what? We don't have time for this. And like kind of moves back towards the stage.
At which point Mara suddenly
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Wait,
At which
Launched.
point,
just like, huh?
yeah. So, Mara, Ceres, this tall Gwendolyn Christie-esque woman in this kind of white bodycon dress with this kind of platinum blonde kind of pixie cut hair, these immaculate high heels, this bright white clipboard, very white nails, so white that to look at her hurts a little bit. She is just so incredibly viciously, sharply white. And she gives you a very white smile, and she pushes you up onto the stage, and as she touches you, you feel this frisson of energy and electricity and divinity that you have not felt in some time, because this is the touch, it feels like the touch of an archangel, and not just an archangel just like you, just like what you used to be. And you feel that shivering touch rocket through you, and with it comes a lightning strike of joy and pleasure and happiness and everything that you could have ever felt, and then it's gone. But she lets go of you, and you trip up onto the stage in front of thousands of people, thousands of adoring people, thousands of adoring people who are all looking at you with their mouths open, their eyes wide in awe and adoration and attraction and intrigue and curiosity and interest. And there is a microphone, and this is your chance. Ceres, what do you do?
I've written something for this exact occasion. Because we had break, and so I wrote something while we were away. I think she steps to the microphone, and there is a look. It's like everything else I think around her, with that brief spark of divinity that she feels again. It's like the lighting on the stage automatically adjusts to be appropriate for her. And while she is singing out to the crowd, there's still a look, I think, of melancholy on her face, and she is just looking directly at Zed while singing. And she sings the following. Call me your Valentine, your sweetest girl, like the finest wine. Though I've been left alone, fade away like stone into darkest times, I'd call you mine, for I'm only fallen now. I'm fallen now. I'm gone. And just sort of like lets that echo out. And I would like to use my specific playbook move, which is call me master.
Very good. Give me a roll, please.
Yes. When you declare how you mesmerize onlooking NPCs with your fated powers, spend darkness tokens and roll. Because I have been rolling like shite, I am going to spend 3 on this because even if I overshoot, it will still be interesting. Aha, I was correct. I landed exactly at 9.
Okay. You have claimed new worshippers. Choose 2. They will fulfill a single command exactly as you wish. They will grant you new powers temporarily. Describe them. They will create a place of worship and power in your name. You get 2 of those.
Okay. I think the power, if it works with the narrative, Ella, is I think to kind of part away illusion, like what, like because she was an angel of lust, of joy, and of virtue, and of pleasure. But I think that would also make her inclined to see when people are forcing a certain kind of pleasure on other people that they don't want, or like a kind of intimacy that they don't want with each other. So I think there's an element of like of genuine affection that she is singing towards Zed for what was at one point and what I think she still wishes she could have. And the command I think I'm going to go with is tell me who's really in charge.
Ooh.
And just sort of just tell the crowd, just like, okay, you're all dancing on strings, right? Let's clip them and just tell me who's really in charge.
I love that. And I want us to kind of freeze time for a second because just before we kind of reveal that information, I want us to rewind the clock and see what Zed was doing in just the moments before this is resolved. I should also let you know that because we hit the break before you'd attempted to unlock Doom's door, we have ticked the Doomsday clock up once, so it can go one more time before whoever the bad guys are unlock Doom's door themselves. So you should be aware of that. Anyone can roll to grasp keys at any time, and once you've got 2 keys that you think you can connect to the 2 facets of the mystery, which are who is the harbinger and what or where is the door of doom, you can roll to try and unlock Doom's door and see whether or not your keys are the right clues and if you've kind of come to the right conclusion. Just as a heads up on that. Okay, but yeah, Maddie, Zed, I'm gonna give you a piece of information, then I would like to know how Zed reacts to it. Standing this close to the stage, you notice something unusual about the sound system. In fact, you think that possibly that quantum wave from earlier kind of acted a little bit like sonar for you. It alerted you to anything in the area that was irregular in that way. And there was a high concentration of that on the main stage. And now you're this close, you can see that the speakers here, the front half, look like ordinary, massive kind of festival speakers. But the back half of them, there are wires and tubes and arrays and setups that you have not seen since you were on your home planet. There is some kind of technology that is straight up being taken from your world and set up in a way that only someone from your world could do.
Cool.
How do you react?
I think in the moment before the song starts, Zed's mind races and kind of thinks, is there someone here from my planet who I thought I was the only one? Is there someone else? Or has someone kind of stolen our technology? And like, is this hope just too much to bear? Is this something that I need to instantly cross off and dash because I don't want to allow myself to hope? And then the song starts, and I think it's a combination of she is looking directly at Mara and just sort of feeling the full weight of the emotions that are flowing over him, and but also just cannot bear to look and like glances down. But but kind of keeps glancing up and glancing down because she just can't quite bring herself to look steadily, but she can't look away. It's like this constant push and pull of I can't, but I should, but I shouldn't. So yeah, that's Zed in this moment.
Very cool. Okay. We skip time forward. On the way through that skip, Carla has a moment, having been brought back into herself, where I don't know if this is the first time, Sharmini, you tell me, but you are very, very, very aware that there are two sides to you and that only one of them can exist. And then if the other one comes out, then you just stop. You die in the only meaningful way that you can. You are erased from existence. And by this point, you actually are a person. You do have desires as much as you want to ignore them. You do have feelings as much as you want to ignore them. You do have people you care about as much as you want to ignore them. And so her bringing you back has made you painfully aware of that fact. Have you ever felt that before?
There's a sudden moment of deja vu where you remember that you did know this before. You remember that you've been in this place before. You remember that you've had this dream before, but you've forgotten until it happens again, and then it's brought back. And maybe this one will fade away too. Maybe this isn't something that she wants to know or wants to remember or wants to admit. But she realizes the truth of it very strongly in this moment.
Oh. And Zahir, death haunts you, literally, in so many different ways. With the faces of the people you love, with specifically your family, all of whom were killed by agents of Ceres's goddess Alaya, this goddess of joy, but goddess of joy on very specific terms, who slaughtered your loved ones and left you a lone survivor, an aberration adopted by death and forced now to exist forever in their shadow. Death haunts you. With the faces and bodies of the people you loved in the moment of their destruction. And you brought Carla back. Whoever that other person, that other being was, the blue one with the 4 arms and the sword and the long black hair. It doesn't matter, because Carla's here. But as you glance around the crowd, you see something out of the corner of your eye. A shade, a ghost, a shadow, an echo. And it's Carla pushing through the crowd, frozen in time as if in slow motion, mouth open in a terrible scream of fear or pain or something, dissolving into dust. Frozen in her last moment, the moment when she will inevitably be taken from you like everyone else.
Does Zahir see Kala standing like nearby as well?
Yeah,
So,
death is
okay.
showing you a premonition.
Okay. So Zahir looks transfixed at this premonition. There is a stillness to the moment. All the noise, all the supposedly emotionally relevant noise around Zahir just fades. And all she can hear is a moment that doesn't need to happen yet. And the sound of what she thinks her heart used to sound like. And it beats. Sounds human. How is that possible? Looks back at the specter of Kala's inevitable demise. Part of her wants to harden her heart again, because it is the easiest thing to do, and it's what she's been doing for hundreds of years. But she knows that death only shows her the faces of family and people she has loved and missed for longer than she's actually had time to love them. And she doesn't know how long Kala has been found family. But she realizes in that moment that because of how cruelly her family was taken from her, maybe Kala's the being that she's had the longest to love. And I don't know if anybody sees this, but not exactly a tear, but a smudge of ink will go down what would be her cheek if she were human.
As you're looking back into the crowd at the vanished apparition, you feel a touch on your arm. Kala isn't looking at you. She's looking up, she's looking away, and she looks like they're about to try and like focus on something. And this touch is not a hold. You can step, you can move an inch, you can shift, and the connection will be broken, but the hand is there.
Zahra doesn't move.
And I'm going to use that solidity, that connection with reality, to try and sort of reach out again, reach out into the minds, reach out into the world. Mechanically, flavorfully, that is what I'm doing. Mechanically, there's lots of things I could do, but I don't know if there's a sort of right thing to do in this moment. I can reach out into people's minds. I can reach out into people's dreams, and I'm going to sort of flexibly call that like a semi-dreamlike state that I have an idea for. However, would it be better to grasp keys? Should we be doing that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Better, right?
Yeah, I think grasping
but...
I think grasping keys is good. I think what I'm gonna say is that because remember we're in this kind of like flashback moment before we resolve Ceres's command.
Ceres is still singing, right?
Yeah. So when Ceres's command, and it's kind of like the reason I wanted to do this flashback was to see what everyone else was doing in the set, to have these kind of moments. We had a couple things to resolve. When Ceres's command executes, I will just tell you, because it's a one shot, that you will get a big whopping clue as to who the Harbinger is. So I would say in this moment, actually, you do need to grasp keys. You need to have at least 2 keys so that you can try and unlock Doom's door. But probably when Ceres's command resolves is when you might want to grasp keys. I don't want to tell you what to do as players.
I'm just going to say I'm starting to do this now, and then let's see what happens.
Yeah, okay, cool. But yes, what I will say is that also, like, Shamini, the thing that you are specifically very well placed to do, that Kala is very good at, is that, like, whatever is happening here, the plan of whoever is doing this seems to be quite contingent on controlling these souls and minds and like feeding on their dreams. So what I will say you can do, like, and it's worth thinking about doing and seeing if there's like playbook moves that I think are relevant here, is that you could try and wrestle control of the dreams and of the minds and of the emotions of these people away from whatever is using them as a battery. Grasping keys is also good, but yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of let you know that also I do want you to do that.
I
But
have
like, you might-
I do have a couple of ideas for that. So yeah, let's see.
Cool.
if we-
Okay. So Ceres finishes her set, and Ceres, oh, it's addictive to be worshipped. You are on top of the world. Everything is perfect. You feel like you're flying. Maybe you are. Your wings are absolutely thrumming. There are thousands of people who are in love with you right now. Someone takes off their top and throws it at you. Someone else is screaming your name. A lot of people are screaming your name. People are climbing over the fence to get towards you. You have not felt this full of power in so long. And you take all of that power and you redirect it and you command them as you were meant to do. Leader of the holy hosts, archangel of joy and pleasure, you take your rightful place and you tell them to tell you who's doing this. And all of them, as one, compelled by divinity, point at the woman in white, who grins at you, and large wings unfold from behind her shoulders, and she flies up into the air, laughing, and her laughter falls down on the crowd like shards, like fragments of gold, just absolute pure pieces of light. And wherever they hit people, like freckles of gold, those people are overwhelmed by joy and pleasure and jubilation and ecstasy. And she spins, and as she spins, there is a hurricane of light and the sky cracks open. And she says, "Oh, well, I suppose we'll have to do away with this charade."
It was her. Gang. It's her.
So,
Hello.
hey players, there's a thing you can do, which is to roll to grasp keys if you've got an idea of whether you found a clue that might be relevant to a facet of the mystery. For example, who is the harbinger of the apocalypse in this scenario? Does anyone want to give me a roll?
What was the key we already got then?
That was the one that Porna rolled, which was that death is involved. That death wants to destroy the veil between the living and the dead.
We only need 2 keys?
Yep.
Okay.
You need to figure out how death's involvement connects to the Door of Doom, because those are your 2 facets that you have to solve. Who's the Harbinger and where or what is the Door of Doom? Based on how you've played the game so far and the information you've gathered, where do you think the Door of Doom is, and what do you think its purpose is, and how do you think it works? But first of all, you need to roll to grasp keys, and then once you've got a working theory, you can roll to try and open Doom's door. Doom's door is not a modified roll, so you can't influence it with bonds or tokens, but grasping keys is a modified roll. You can influence that one. Porna, you put your hand up.
Is this something like the facets of the mystery and how they've how it all works? Is that something we can discuss?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, you are actively encouraged to do so.
Okay. I also, if anyone's curious, got a good roll, so we can use it for grasping keys. But if I'm fine, I'm happy for anybody else to roll. I was just thinking that so if thingamajiggy in white is the harbinger, and then the door is the back of the speakers, and I'm assuming that if it is something that's been like, if there's a connection to Zed's home planet, and then like because they're all Zed dead, then maybe it's like that's the veil that death is lifting, to be like, we need, like, because there's a whole, like, a ridiculous amount of death again, Zed, and then like getting all the thousands of ghosty ghosts, or hundreds of ghosty ghosts that are like here at the concert, and then probably not feeling too bad about randomly killing a bunch of other mortals to push this over the edge. And then it doesn't make a lot of sense now that I'm saying it out loud, but what do you think?
Lost me in there slightly. I don't think the speakers are the door. I think the speakers are the door frame. I think the stage is the door.
Oh, right.
Because
Yeah,
it's a
that
music
makes sense.
festival and she's an angel in it. And but the question is why, right? The question is, wait, what's the question? Why does how does that help Death lift the veil between worlds?
The
What is
question
the link?
when connecting the key to the facet is
Yeah.
you're trying to establish how does that clue tell you what or where the door of doom is. So like
we haven't done that.
what it is or where it is. I think like where it is, you've got two good suggestions, the speakers or the stage, so that can be enough. And what like portal to Zed's home planet in order to like feed it with the ghosts of Zed's people, maybe. Like portal somewhere. The word door indicates a portal of some kind. It's up to you guys how you think that manifests. But yeah, you've got two things you need to do. Roll to grasp keys, and then if you want to, you can try and roll to unlock Doom's door. Spoiler alert, the woman in white is not going to let you unlock Doom's door before she does without a bit of a fight.
Yeah, we're spoiling for a fight anyway. So, should I grasp the keys so we find the clue thingy? Okay. I have rolled a 9.
Great.
Yeah.
You uncover a key. The keeper will tell you what it is. The woman in white is the harbinger. Yeah, for sure. She is an archangel of the goddess Elia, Ceres's goddess. She is.
I'd like to point out, former goddess, as you have
Yes,
slowly
indeed.
but
You're right.
continuously stabbed me in the heart with throughout this
Mm.
entire one shot, reminding me.
Right.
It's like you were
Former
when you were
goddess.
as an angel. Sorry, former angel. It's like it's. Oh look, there's my feelings. Here's Emma's foot, just stamping down on them the entire time.
It's the name of the game, you know. Yes, your former goddess, Elia. But this angel is not fallen. This is an angel in the fullness of her power and connection to her goddess. More powerful perhaps than Ceres, but we will see. So yes, you've got your two keys. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to suggest that one of those might connect more easily to a facet than another, as in you could connect Death to the Harbinger facet if you wanted to, but it's up to you. But once you've connected the keys and the facets, you roll and add the number of connected keys minus the mystery's complexity. The mystery's complexity is 2, the number of keys you have is 2, so you'd be doing a flat roll. Then it's the same as usual. 8 to 10 is a success, 11 plus is a success with a complication, and less than 7 or less is a failure.
Do we know? So the facets so far are death. No? Yes.
Yeah,
Death
so
and
I would
Harbinger.
say keys you've got so far are like the ones you've rolled for are like this Harbinger and that like there are ghosts of people here from the previous gig and that Death itself seems to be very invested in making this happen. What I will say is that whilst we didn't roll for it because this is a new system to us all and we're in a one-shot, other clues that would definitely be relevant is the appearance of technology from Zed's people on the stage, interference by Carla's demon going through the crowd and something unusual happening in the emotional psychological state of the crowd, and just the connection that the woman in white has to Elia, the fact that like so much of this is themed around harvesting joy, harvesting emotion, getting people together in one place, that perhaps that extends beyond Death. I will say that like any of these things you can say are clues that you can use to inform your theory.
Right. But like when you say use the key on a particular facet,
Yes.
you mean that like the facet itself is like if the first key that we found that Death wants to destroy the veil,
Yep.
and the facet's going to be
Is that the facet?
no, that's
That's
a
the
clue.
clue.
The facet,
Yeah,
the facet
The
is
facet is the door.
yeah, the facet is the Harbinger and the Door of Doom.
Okay.
So I'm
Facet's
looking
the
at the book
door, and
because
we
it's
have
a
to work
really
out
good diagram.
running
Yeah, here we
keys.
go. So this is a mystery
Ah.
map. I'm sorry that you don't have them. But basically on one side you've got your keys, your clues, and on one side you've got your facets. And the idea is you draw a line between the clue and the facet. So you've drawn a line between clue, the woman in white, and facet, the harbinger. We think the woman in white is the harbinger. Now you need to draw a line between one of the clues that you've got, and like I said, I'll say that you can have whatever, including the ones you haven't rolled for, and the door of doom. What or where is the door of doom? That is all you have to do. And if you can connect that to any of your theories, doesn't have to be that convincing. You can just kind of be like, I think it's probably this. Then you can roll for it and find out whether that is the case.
Can it count? Can our technology theory count? As in the fact that the technology, we think the technology from Zed's planet is going to be used to make the door, to create that door.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
will also be the veil between worlds. Which world? We're not sure yet. Either Zed's world or possibly death.
I am very happy to go on that. What did you say, Paula?
Sorry, I said the world beyond the veil.
Yeah.
That one.
I mean, where are Zed's
Also
people
beyond
now?
the pale.
Zed's people are certainly not among the living anymore. Sorry, Zed.
It's true.
Cool.
It's gonna be
Okay,
like a hashtag sorry Zed. It's true.
So we've got a working theory. Who would like to roll to unlock Doom's door? So when you're ready to declare what the door is and how to unlock it, say what you believe it to be.
I feel like I want to do my thing that I was doing before that, because things are going to kick off and this could be useful. So color still just touching Zaha's arm. I'm gonna use I've lost it now. I am gonna use my move Walk With Me in Dreams. This is sort of as I've been describing, it's like she's going to sleep, but this connection is what's stopping, hopefully we'll see, the the dream taking over her, and she's reaching out into the minds of other people, and the area around is suddenly like, they look like they're still, like, no one's asleep, right? They're dancing, they're having a great time, but the whole scene is now as if it's a dream, like it's disjointed, and the sound is odd, and you can't pinpoint any one thing. That effect that she has, where you can't grasp anything, is just sort of spreading outwards. And I would like to roll that.
Cool. Give me a roll, please. Spend darkness tokens and roll.
Okay. Do I have to say how many before I look?
You can spend darkness tokens before or after your roll.
Okay, great. Okay. Oh no, so bad. Right. I would like to spend 2 darkness tokens to bring that up to a 7, and then I would like to use this bond to make that an 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. You find exactly what you are looking for. Choose 2. You unearth a secret. You implant a suggestion that shifts reality. You hide something in the dream. You bring something back from the dream, or declare an irrevocable truth about the mystery that you learn from the dream. Rewrite or add a facet of the mystery that reflects this truth.
So my idea was that I was going to combine, you hide something in the dream with you implant a suggestion that shifts reality. What I want to hide in the dream is this suggestion that is going to shift their reality. That's quite what it meant. Basically, we've got the idea that they are like, what is it? Hashtag rapture me, please.
Yeah.
There's a better
I want to be
hashtag for
raptured.
That's the one.
Hashtag I want to be raptured.
There's this sort of like, there's this worship, there's this sort of focus and attention and love being directed towards a concept, an entity, which we now think is the white angel. I want to, not yet, but I want to implant a shift to that focus and that attention. And what I'm gonna say is that for Carla, that it's not worship, but that intensity of experience for them is only these 3. There is nothing else but these 3. There is no past, there is no, she remembers no family, no one else. It is them and now. And I want to make the people here feel that, so that maybe not at this moment, but at a moment when they see their faces, then that is what they love, not her.
Ooh. I really, really love that. And I think as you plant that suggestion, you feel a moment where you're close to this somewhat manufactured adoration, this carefully cultivated cult of love and joy, and something in you, the other thing in you, is so drawn to it and so tempted by it. And you suddenly remember, it's like an echo of a dream. You don't have it clearly, but you sort of vaguely get this deja vu feeling of spending thousands of years just adored. And you remember you taste something salty and coppery in your mouth, and you remember feasting. And then as you focus instead on your friends, whatever that is gets very, very small. And suddenly you feel so much bigger and more real than you have in a very long time. And you are connected and anchored to the people you care about right now. And you are sharing the strength of that with all of these people. Okay. Are we ready to try and unlock
boy.
Doom's door?
It's gonna go great.
I'm happy to suggest
It
myself.
should be Maddie should do it because Maddie hasn't gotten screen time for a little bit. So
I agree.
I'll be the sacrificial lamb for this particular part of the game.
If anyone's going to try and manage the machinery, then it should be Zed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are ready to declare what the door is and how to unlock it, say what you believe it to be.
Oh no.
Connect the keys to the facets of the mystery, revealing the harbinger. Roll and add the number of connected keys minus the mystery's complexity. It's a flat roll. This roll is not affected by any other tokens.
Okay.
So
I
declare what the door is.
I believe that the door is a portal to the lost souls of my home planet. And I believe to open it, they're using the power of the souls here. And using the machinery to amplify all of these things. So I guess I'll roll. That's a 7.
Ooh.
Oh shit. Shoot.
Damn it.
And here's what I'm gonna say. So in a normal campaign, Apocalypse Keys, for people watching at home, is designed for campaigns. It's not really designed for one shots. I love it as a game and I want more people to be aware of it, which is why we're playing it now. But in a normal campaign, this would be kind of like a setback that then the players would kind of continue to investigate, try and find more clues. However, I don't know if you remember, there's currently an angel in the air above this festival, and there's a lot of people here and there's a lot of stuff going on. So what happens instead is that angel up in the air with her huge golden wings, with her hurricane of light, smiles down at you, Saris, and she looks so much like Elia did, smiling as you tumbled from paradise towards mortality, just sitting there beatific and beautiful in her joy and pleasure. And this angel smiles. And as she does, Zed, you get to the machinery and there is a horrible, sickening, painful moment where you realize that it has been so long since you saw your people, since you were home, that you actually have forgotten how to do this. It's your technology, it's your world, it's your culture, and you fumble. You're not sure what goes where. It's not responding to you in the way that you want it to. You forgot them. You are going to mark a condition, which is despairing. You're also going to take a ruin advance. In fact, take 2. And the angel is going to thrust out her arm, and as she does, this enormous sword of light and gold appears in her hand. It's a kind of rose gold. And as that happens, all of the machines said, switch on. They switch on for her, but not for you. And they start kicking into power, and there's a vroom, vroom, vroom. And with each vroom, there is a quantum wave, just like what happened when Zed was upset before, and everyone kind of shifts and repixelates. And then it happens again. And then it happens again, and it's happening to the ghosts too, but they're not reacting. They're not scared. They're just like before. They've got their mouths open like fish on a hook, like fish in a line. And indeed, speaking of that line, they are all being dragged towards the stage now in one wave of blurring light. And as the stage kind of thumps, there is this massive, blazing, earthbound sunrise as a door opens where a door should never have opened. And Zed, it's home. There are 3 suns and a beautiful green and blue planet, a gas giant painting the sky. And smoke and ruin. And not even bones anymore. Just dust. And stars. And the void. And as you watch, you see this angel fly down and open her arms. And as she does, you see dust, smoke, light, mist rushing towards her. And you realize all at once that she is consuming your people, that she is devouring them, that she is devouring their memory or their souls or their echoes or whatever was left of them. She is eating it, and she is smiling. I am going to say, Maddie, that if you would like to, we'll suggest that this is a possible trigger for your breaking point. Normally this is mechanical, but as GM, I am also going to say that if I think that you are experiencing a lot of strong emotion, you could hit it. If you would like to, you can.
I think that makes sense, yes.
So you're barely able to keep the grief and anger at bay. It rises in you now. You feel time wither away as you relive the trauma and heartbreak. Your guilt turns you into a weapon. Describe how you will make everyone and everything around you pay for what happened to your people, and how you go too far. The Keeper will tell you how the faintest hope surfaces before you destroy it, and who walks away to perpetuate this cycle of violence and pain.
I think my anger at I'm angry both at this angel who is sullying the memory of my people, but I'm also simultaneously angry at my people for allowing this to happen to them and at their hubris. And I'm surrounded by humans, people who are willingly dancing in the face of their own destruction. And in the absence of anyone else to punish, because this angel is so powerful and so far above us, I cannot reach her. But these people around me, I don't even consciously, I think, decide to do this. It is just a pulse of pain that immediately all of the people around me start to fragment into pixels and glitch and disintegrate into nothingness.
I want to at this point give Maddie/Zed the option. I have a move called Death Broke Me First, and it is when a player is about to mark their final condition and hit their breaking point. If you would like someone to intervene, I can try. How this works is that I would summon death to your side. And when death comes, they will ask me for something in return for my assistance, and I can deal with that, burn that bridge when that happens. But do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Ella, is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. I'm having the time of my goddamn life. Please,
Apocalypse is
everyone, do the
coming.
big feelings,
Apocalypse is
sacrifice
coming.
things, make Faustian bargains, literally in some cases. Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, because we are monsters, is that Zed gets a bit of a death toll. There's kind of a spiraling, it's a helix spiral. It is the golden ratio. It is that pattern that we see always at the center of the universe, spiraling out from them, this group of people, this wake of devastation, as they just dissolve into reality. They break apart into the constituent parts of their dimensions, never again to be reunited. And just before that wave expands outward and consumes everyone here, Zahir, tell me how you summon death to your side.
I spent an additional darkness token and brought my roll to 8. I don't actually know if that makes a difference for ruin moves, but
You don't need to roll for a ruin move. You just tell me
Oh,
what happens,
well,
and then you choose
fair.
the cost. But hey, knowing that it's an 8 kind of gives us an idea that you are not out of control of your power, and you also have not failed to execute it. So I'm glad that we did the roll. It gives us information on how this works. But now you can choose what this looks like and what cost you are willing to pay.
So I can choose to mark a ruin and describe how death will bridle your torment, Zed. And you can erase 2 conditions, or I can mark 2 ruin, and the harbinger within me awakens, and I force death to serve me. Sounds fun, honestly. Yeah. Either way, you erase 2 conditions. Interesting.
From a GM perspective, what I will say is when you call death, death is jubilant in a way that you have never known. The faces of your dead family are grinning and laughing. Carla's there too. An echo of Carla. Strange. Dissolved from behind. Half there, like a crumbling sandcastle. And they are grinning and laughing, and death doesn't have a face or a body exactly, but it's a power. And you feel it. Whether you want to or not, you always feel it. You always know how death feels. And death right now is so happy, so joyously, divinely happy, so full of blessed joy and pleasure. It comes to you laughing. Death grins. What would you have of me? I am feeling generous today.
Zahir wants to scream, wants to simultaneously claw Death's eyes out, if that were possible, but it's not. And they're wearing the faces, the smiling faces of a family they took away from me. And even though they weren't the reason, they facilitated it. And the family is smiling. And they're not the happy smiles of a family that I remember or think I remember. They're a mockery of those smiles. Zahir both wants to very uncharacteristically reach out with her hands and hold the faces of the family members, and simultaneously wants to rip away those masks and see if she can be on equal footing with death. because in this moment, it really, really feels like she could.
I'm going to say, if it's okay with you, Porna, because of the story we've constructed so far, I think it's very unlikely that Death will do anything to stop what's happening. And I think that without stopping what's happening, we're going to struggle to calm Zed down, because otherwise they're going to have to watch the devouring of their people. So I'm going to suggest that we go for the Mark II ruin. The Harbinger within you awakens and you force Death to serve you, if that's all right with you. Cool. So in that case, you and Death are on the same wavelength. You always have been, whether or not you want to be. Color, you're tuned in too. It's kind of your thing. You're always tuned in. You always know the feelings and thoughts of everyone around you. And you don't have this relationship with Death, but it's such a powerful bond between Zahir and Death that you cannot help but hear the echoes of it, like a conversation in another room. You are aware of something happening. You are aware of Zahir's pain and grief and fury and love. You are aware of Death's jubilation. You are aware of how similar that jubilation feels to anyone who has ever been touched by the goddess Alaya. Zahir, you become aware at the same moment that Death does. The Death will absolutely not grant your request. Absolutely not. This is what Death wanted. Death has been bored. Death wants change. Death wants more death. Death wants a kingdom of souls, everlasting, entertained by a goddess of joy and pleasure who can harvest them to her heart's content and bleed that out in her laughter back to Death itself. And Death can finally not be alone anymore. And wouldn't that be beautiful? He's so tired of being selfless. And you feel that. And you are suddenly aware that with all of the power here, you are right next to a door of doom, and you, Zahir, are a harbinger of the apocalypse. And you can take that power too. And it doesn't have to be in the way that this angel is. You don't have to consume. There are lots of ways to use energy. Energy moves from place to place. It cannot be destroyed. You don't have to eat it, but you can use it. How do you wrestle Death into submission?
So when the door is right there, so is this the door to Zed's people?
Yeah.
Being as connected with Death as Zahir is at the moment, would they know if this is if it is at all possible to resurrect Zed's people with that energy?
No. You, like, this power, this is one of Doomstor's. You would need to open more to be able to get that much power. This power is a prelude. This power is step one. It's not enough to resurrect a planet.
Is it enough to destroy people who wear white after Labor Day?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, cool. So that's what I'm going to do. So so Zahir sort of basically feels the energy of the doomsday door, and sort of you hear, like in any good like, oh look, this character finally figured out their badass montage, like this, like really suitable music that I cannot think of the name of right now, that starts playing. Zahir goes, neck crack, crack, and then just walks towards Death. Like,
I want to suggest the song so that everyone can imagine it. It's Fallout Boy, This Ain't a Scene, It's a Goddamn Arms Race. Continue.
Thank you. So, and then Zahir goes, just let's get this clear. You don't control me. Maybe you're lonely. Get on an app or something. I don't need this anymore. And Zahir just sort of like takes back emotional and physical reins of the situation. Just goes, and just like with almost like a snapping of like the all the ink that usually smudges around her kind of coalesces into almost smoke that she looks like she controls, and kind of like becomes more powerful as she starts weaving the energy from the door, if that's how it works. And then kind of like the smoke becomes like this almost like tornado, and kind of like she's glaring at death this entire time. And then what is really annoying when you're trying to get a smoky effect is a freaking sword of light just hovering above you like some kind of nonsense, weird high school rivalry. So there it goes. Not today, bitch. Just throws the energy towards Mara's less attractive counterpart.
The angel screams and grasps out towards you, and as she does, you see her whole body becoming white like a marble statue. She is petrified in this moment of power, turned into light, turned into something opaque, turned into something painful, reflective, with no substance of its own. And as she is purely white, she disappears. The door starts to close, and there's one more thing you notice, Zahir. It's something that Zed notices. It's something that Ceres notices. It's something that Carla notices. You all notice for different reasons. Ceres, you are a fallen angel, but you are still an angel, and you know what love feels like. Carla, you are always in tune with the emotions and thoughts of others. And Zahir, well, right now you're deaf. You see Zed, this shadow, this shade, this mist pulling away from the river towards you, and they have a very familiar face. Your partner, or what is left of her, is trying to reach towards you across the stage, the light of her flickering in the shining plastic floor. Zahir and Zed, what do you do? Zahir, I will say you have enough power to resurrect one person.
Is that still glitching out right now?
Zed? Maddie?
I think Zed's instinct would be to use their dimensional phasing ability to kind of glitch forward and sort of in an instant reach out towards the figure.
So I don't think well, it's only when you sort of reach out towards the figure that Zahir would kind of notice and sort of look towards you like, is this one important?
I think Zed says, in the grand scheme of the universe, no, but to me, everything.
What are monsters if we don't show a little favoritism now and then? And then Zahir just like channels some of that energy towards Zed's partner and hopefully brings them back.
Yeah. Maddie, your partner, what pronouns do they use and what do they look like?
I think they use they them pronouns. I think that they are more of a they're not as humanized as Zed is, because Zed has learned to blend in with the people around them. So is a kind of constantly shifting collection of particles and atoms of different colors that resolves temporarily into a humanoid figure with long sort of silver blonde hair that reaches right down to the floor, and an expression that is just full of kindness.
While this is happening, can I say that Carla turns away and doesn't look, and they are looking at Mara the whole time instead?
Cool. Zed, your partner in front of you, kind of reaches out to touch you, expecting you to resonate on the same frequency, expecting you to match their rhythm the way that you always have, expecting your face to reshift itself to their pattern of the universe. But you have a human cheek. And instead, they look confused, uncertain. Zed?
Yes, it's me. I've had to change, but inside I'm still me.
That's everything I needed to hear. And if it's okay with you, Maddie, I think that your partner probably wants to kiss you. Is that all right?
Yes, that is okay.
Okay. Then they grasp your face, and as they do, they kiss you. And as they kiss you, everyone around you sees reality fracture into a million rainbows just for a second, layered in on themselves, fragmenting and refracting like glass, like crystal, like reality and the threads that hold it together. We're coming to the end now. We've got 9 minutes left. So we're going to wrap things up. Mara, you notice that you are standing right next to a fallen sword, a golden sword, a sword of the goddess Elia, a sword of immense divine power. You also might notice that Carla is looking at you. What do you do, Mara?
Do I see that Zed is with Zir's partner?
This is very clear.
I think, you know what, this feels in tone and in theme with I was about to say Monsters, no, Apocalypse Keys. I think Mara looks at Kala, and Kala has the ability to do telepathy and such, correct?
Mm.
I think
I think you
solely
feel
for the
that reaching
purposes
out.
of,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can feel that reaching out.
I think Mara says very quietly to herself, and Kala hears it, is sometimes a lie makes more people happy. And I think from different things that have happened, I still have possibly like 2 darkness tokens left now. Spending them for the purposes of using a move that I did not expect to use in this fashion. The move is Honeyed Tongue and Clouded Minds. When you unleash the dark through lies, you can also choose 1 from below, even on a miss. And I rolled 8 through 10. For Unleashing the Dark, one of the things I choose is I get what I want from them, which is that I want Zed to be happy. I want them to know, at least for this moment, no grief, no sadness with their partner. And the other thing, yeah, let's go with this.
I'm going to resolve that in just a moment, but before oh, sorry, yes, Angela?
No. I was just going to say, I know what the other thing is avoid reprisals, harm, or cost. I think the only one who will remember, because they are reaching out, is Kala, because I am choosing for the thing, if folks are okay with this, that becomes a lie, that becomes a truth. is you never have to worry about any feelings Mara felt for you, Zed. You never have to feel any guilt for that because Mara never loved you.
Boy, howdy. Okay. And I think that as Mara does this, Zed, as you are kissing your partner, it is joy. It is joy. And also just being able to touch one of your people, to be able to touch them in the way that none of these like quantum locked beings can, to be able to interact with people. This is your equivalent of getting oxytocin from a hug, and you haven't felt it in millennia of grief. And so just all of that is overwhelming. But at first, when you're kissing her, when you're kissing them, there is this sense of grief too, like that is choking you, because you are also feeling the fact that you haven't had this for millennia, the fact that there is no one else, the fact that you don't know how long they're going to be here, the fact that you have missed them so much. And there's a moment where you can't tell whether you have more grief in you or more joy. And then suddenly the joy overwhelms you. And you think in the moment it must just be the kiss. Finally, we're nearly out of time. Carla, Shamini, is there anything else you'd like to do before we end?
Just as the dust settles, the world settles back into this new reality. Just again, Carla speaking quietly to herself, but you hear it in your mind, Mara, and it's half Carla's voice and half Zaher's. And it just says, "It is possible. You matter."
Oh my gosh, my heart. Okay, and with that, we are going to finish our game. And what I will say happens as we zoom away from our heroes, as we pull out and see the kind of devastation in the festival. A lot of very confused festival goers. Most of them just think it was a bad trip or something. Maybe mass hallucination, mass hysteria. Who knows? There's going to be a lot of conspiracy theory like videos about this in future, probably at some point. But as this is happening, My Chemical Romance get up to take the stage. They were going to be opening for the Rapture. Gerard Way is dressed as Joan of Arc in a full like mail shirt dress, and they kind of look around at all of you on the stage and kind of the general destruction, and they're kind of like, okay, so are we like good to go, or and when none of you respond, they kind of set up Mikey Way, Ray Toro, Frankie Hero, and they start as you all kind of shuffle down and get an alert on your watches from your boss, from Agent Marsh.
No, not
saying,
shades.
"Well done, come home." And as she says it, all of your watches glow and all of you dissolve into blue light, teleported back to Division. And as you teleport back to Division, you hear the opening chords of My Chemical Romance's Foundations of Decay. And that is where we will finish our game. Thank you so much for playing, everyone. I appreciate you all. I had a great time. I hope that you did too. Thank you also, everyone, for watching. If you stuck with this that long, I really appreciate it. If you watched it back, I hope you enjoyed it. We are going to go around the houses now and just tell you a little bit about where you can find us on social media and any upcoming projects that we want to flag. But I will let our players know that we are 2 minutes away from the end of our slot. So nice and speedy. Alrighty. Starting off with Porna, please.
Hi, everyone. I am Burna, she, her pronouns. You can find me on the internet as @Burna mostly on Twitter. I have been Zeher, have had many issues, apparently don't need therapy anymore because I played Apocalypse Keys. And yeah, I'm doing a bunch of cool stuff, but you can find out more about that on my Twitter timeline.
Cool. Maddie.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Maddie_abstract, and there is a link in my bio to all the various things that I do, including my brand new podcast, A Game of One's Own, where I play solo and 2-player RPGs.
Wonderful. Angela.
Hello there, lovelies. My name is Angela Lemsmogrejo. I use your pronouns, and I was very fortunate to be part of this table. You can find me doing just a lot of creative director work over at Girls Write These Worlds, the publishing house wing of Girls Run These Worlds. We're currently in the midst, actually, of looking for artists for our 4th zine, so which is on the theme of routines. And we have some really neat stuff that I have been fortunate enough to get to edit and do work on. So yeah, artists, please apply. You can come find it over on Girls Write These Worlds Twitter.
Heck yeah. Shamini.
I have been Shamini. You can follow me in various places at sbundell, SBUNDELL, and I do a load of stuff with RP Geeks. We do lots of sci-fi. We mix science up with it. It's very nerdy. It's so nerdy. You can find all that at rpgeeks.co.uk or follow us rpgeeksdnd.
Cool. And finally, my name's Ella Watts. You can find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at GEJWatts. I'm a tabletop game designer. I also do podcast stuff. The things I would love for you to check out, please, are my tabletop game about being queer and rebuilding peace in the ruins of war on a magical river. It's called Upriver Downriver. And an app that I'm working on called Marvel Move, which is a Marvel thing where I'm doing like X-Men stuff. It's going to be a cool app. Also, its success directly affects whether or not I keep my job. So please download the app. Alrighty. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I was going to say as much as I have, which I know I said before, but really I had such a good time. You are all such excellent players. I really appreciate you all. And I really appreciate everyone who came along to the stream and made it magical and monstrous and full of feelings. Thank you to Hoard of Tales. Goodbye, everyone.